Please tell us our children are safe.
God.
Police were called.
Right.
Police threatened the old women. They filmed all of it. All of this again is online. Is a matter of public record. Sean Fielding, the following council meeting, I went, and I took with me a community of people, outraged. He stood up and he said, barefaced lies. The cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children were barefaced lies. I repeat, barefaced lies. He then, and this is where it gets sinister, he then started contacting people who were speaking out online, who were reputable. Like it had professional backgrounds. Like, hold on, we need answers on this. This email looks real. This looks real. That looks real. You're saying it's bare. We need answers on this. He used. This is the leader of Oldham Council. He won, I think, the leader of Oldham Council. He contacted the employers of people using official Oldham Council letterheaded paper to try and get them sacked. He contacted a man called Mark Wilkinson, who worked with children in sort of some probation sort of scheme, former police officer, tried to get Mark Wilkinson sacked. He contacted a woman called Jane Barker. Jane Barker at the time was on a sponsored PhD program at Manchester University, tried to get her sacked. He contacted my friend, who asked me to go and see Warren Bates. It contacted his employer, the civil service, to try and get him sacked. I think they contacted them 8 times to try and get them sacked. They launched a smear campaign on me, and they tried to shut this down. It wouldn't shut down because I wouldn't stop talking, and I wouldn't stop talking because people wouldn't stop releasing me information. So the next bit of information that came from the Labour Party, was Shabir Daddy Ahmed, the ringleader of the Rochdale grooming gang, was a member, not just employed by the council, he was also a senior member of the Labour Party, and when he was employed by the council, he had access to children. He worked in a role that gave him access to children, and I haven't been able to prove this element of it, but this is what I was told at the time, is that his business affairs were done from a little black book where he'd make appointments for people who'd come to see him to meet with children later. Shabir Ahmed, we forced, when the inquiry finally came, the police missed 9 opportunities. 9 opportunities where they should have arrested and charged him.
What
9 times.
They're just, is it a fear
He was politically connected. Yeah. He was politically protected.
Is there a fear among the police of being politically incorrect? Is that?
And I think they're controlled. I think the more journey I've been on this, the more they are partners in this. This isn't at a grassroots level, at a frontline level, amongst a certain demographic of staff. I would agree with you. The fear of being branded racist. I'd agree with that. But that wasn't what this was about. This was about people who were reporting these people, and the investigations would disappear. And this is a man this is not just a man who controlled votes and power. He was also a member of the establishment. He sat on the board of the local community Citizens Advice Bureau, the CAB. The CAB in Oldham, like in any towns like mine, the people who sit on the management committee are basically the figureheads of the town. It's a status position, like you sit on the round table or the CAB or something. You're part of the establishment. They protected Shabir Ahmed.
Is this what you would say to those? There are a lot of people saying, and I don't think they're entire. I mean, there's some point in what they're saying, which is, hey, look, there are these Islamic grooming gangs, but there are also white British grooming gangs that talk about Devon and Cornwall.
Yeah, they're different. No. I get that, and I see it as a deflection. And the people who attack me with it, I say, no, you're wrong. The motivations are different, and also the way in which they went about the business is different.
No, it's still terrible for the victims.
It's terrible for the victims, 100% terrible for the victims.
And probably isn't spoken about enough.
No.
And I think across the board, whether it's Islam or white British, sex offensive children, I mean, people go away, they go to prison for like a year or 2, don't they? It's not, you go longer for a finance crime.
As a society that cannot protect its children, what society is that? And I look at this through the prism of not just someone who worked in government believing that our way of life was of a, like we had it figured out. We know we're okay. But actually, we're not. We're worse than some of the places I come from. And then I look at this through the prism, and I think of also a father, and I think, how can we not protect our children? How can we allow the trading of our children, if not the selling, the trading of our children, because because our careers might suffer, or because we might not get the votes we want, or whatever the reason is. And this is it's just absolutely disgraceful. So Shabir Ahmed, we released, and Sean Fielding, we are campaigning for a public inquiry. 6 years ago, we started a public inquiry. He launched an internal inquiry first, and that collapsed because we called it out, because they were setting the terms of reference. They were deciding who could investigate, what they could investigate. And what Fielding did was he went to his friend, the Greater Manchester Mayor, Andy Burnham. So this is the first time another of the most powerful politicians in this country gets involved. The first one that's incriminated in black and white is Jim McMahon. Black and white incriminated in the dossier of emails released, and his connections to some of these people in terms of the mosques and stuff. The next one is Andy Burnham. Andy Burnham announces what he calls an assurance review, that he bolts on to an existing review that is commissioned following the airing of the BBC's Betrayed Girls, which is about Shabir Ahmed and the grooming gangs and stuff. And Andy Burnham should have known better. Andy Burnham is a veteran of the Hillsborough campaign. He's seen how these things play out. He commissioned a review in Manchester first, and then bolted on in Oldham, and then also in Rochdale, because the grooming gangs didn't operate by council boundaries, did they? It's like a drug network. They go where the business is. They go where they can pick up the kids. They go, or they can sell the kids. And he commissioned a review that was completely toothless.